Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope and pray this finds you well, inshaAllah. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني علما. Ameen. So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all to our live session today on managing your study time effectively, brought to you by the International Open University. My name is Simon Zulfikar, and I'm a student counselor at the International Open University. And inshallah, in today's session, I would like to share some tips and tricks for you to help you plan your studies and learn smarter, inshallah. So on that note, let's get started. So as we all know that the pandemic has changed our life completely at a span of a complete 360 degree. Everything looks different, everything feels different. We're suddenly now heading back to a time of uncertainty. Things were getting better a couple of days ago, but now, subhanAllah, we see that there's a new wave coming up, new restrictions, new lockdowns happening. And so this can certainly be very, very stressful once again, especially if we've gone through that stress previously as well. So it is completely normal, completely valid to feel overwhelmed, to feel demotivated, to feel unproductive, and to feel stuck. So despite all of that, I'm here to remind you that spring 2021 is unique because this is a semester that is a completely new semester, a new opportunity for us to begin from. And this is also unique because, inshallah, we will be witnessing Ramadan 2021 in just a few days away, less than a week. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to approach Ramadan and allow us to benefit and witness it. Ameen. So on that note, let's begin with this session and with this semester as a fresh new start. Let's forget about whatever that has happened in the past. This is our new chance to do our very best to perform better and to do well, inshallah. So it is going to be difficult. This journey is going to be filled with a lot of hardships, a lot of challenges, but it is definitely not impossible to overcome those challenges. It's not impossible to give our very best. This is our chance to do the best that we can. And I also want to remind you that all your efforts count, all your little efforts count, whether it's just dedicating 5 minutes a day to studying to 1 hour a day for completing your modules. Every effort counts, and it just helps us get better and better each time. And also that small consistent habits are actually the things that lead to big results. So you don't really have to have 100% perfect habits to get those big results, but something small, something consistent that you do on a daily basis can lead you to become better. And of course, because we're now again in the pandemic lockdown times, your productivity will look different each day. So on some days it is normal, it is okay to do one module, two modules, three modules, and some days it's okay to not even do one, right? So your productivity will look different each day. So let's get to the internal versus external factors that actually kill productivity. As students, we all have two levels of triggers that actually kill our productivity. The first being the internal factors. Now, internal factors are things that that are within us, right, that are not present in the environment but just within us, within our minds, within our cognition, within our thoughts. And external factors are things that are present outside of us. They're present outside in the environment. So internal things that can kill your productivity include, for example, lack of motivation or interest. So, for example, if you are someone who is not very passionate about, let's say, studying business or studying psychology, then you will definitely not find the course interesting for you, right? So, or if you struggle to understand maths or struggle to understand certain calculations, you might find a certain subject difficult to understand. Or if you're someone who does not enjoy Arabic, then you might struggle to be motivated to study Arabic, and that's completely okay. However, if as students, it is completely normal that we will struggle with a particular subject, with a particular course, and the way to maybe deal with that lack of motivation or lack of interest would be to find somebody who can keep you motivated. So find a buddy, find someone who you can connect with, and basically share your interest, basically seek their assistance, seek their help. So if you're struggling with Arabic, for example, if you're struggling to understand Arabic or fiqh, you can find somebody who can teach you, or who can explain you certain concepts, and that would inshallah help to overcome that lack of motivation. The second factor, internal factor that kills productivity, is burnout or stress. So, as we're all now, most of us are working from home, it is completely normal to feel overwhelmed and to feel exhausted and completely drained throughout the day, because we're juggling more than one job. So that will definitely leave you feeling like you're out of energy and you don't just want to do anything. You're exhausted and you just want to stay back and just completely relax. So in moments like that, in moments of stress, in moments of a burnout, take breaks. Take breaks to energize yourself, to feel full. And your breaks could be something that uh, make sure that while you're in your break, you do something that you enjoy. So, for example, while you're on your break, you can have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or maybe take a walk outside, do some gardening, do some baking, anything that makes you relax, inshallah. And in terms of the external factors that kill productivity, the first would, of course, be procrastination. And procrastination, again, happens for a lot of reasons. So sometimes the underlying reason could be internal, like a lack of motivation or interest, or sometimes it could be exhaustion, it could be, a time management issues. You're just not able to make some time for it. So procrastination has lots of underlying reasons, and you may need to sit down and figure out why. So, in terms of procrastination, my biggest advice to you would be to follow the 2 minute rule. So, if, for example, you're struggling to, complete a module, you're not motivated enough, or you're feeling lazy and procrastinating to do it, what I would suggest is take your phone and set a timer of 2 minutes, and just focus on completing that module within 2 minutes. And chances are, if you are doing it for 2 minutes, you will continue doing it until you finish it. So the rule is pretty simple, it's pretty straightforward. Whenever you feel demotivated to study, make sure you set a timer of 2 minutes, and just focus on that. And inshallah, you will be motivated enough to continue it forward. And the last factor, external factor that kills productivity, is unwanted commitments. So if you have been taking up lots of tasks that are not important or that are not a priority, it definitely kills a lot of time. So I would recommend maybe you find out your most important tasks of the day. So you can begin your day by making a list of three most important tasks that you want to focus on for the day. It could be anything. It could be your modules, it could be the assignments, or it could be, your work, your family. So write down three priorities for the day, and inshallah, try to focus on achieving those throughout the day. Now, what does time management really look like? We have all spoken about time management. We all know what time management is. It's about managing our time better. But what is the core essence behind time management? The core essence behind time management, to my understanding, is a sincere intention. So take this opportunity to reflect, renew, and remind yourself of your real intention. So before you start studying, take 5 minutes off to reflect on your intention. Ask yourself, what is it that you're ultimately striving to achieve through your studies? Are you studying to achieve a degree? Are you studying to seek knowledge? Are you studying to, benefit the ummah? Find out what are you trying to achieve through your studies. Then how will your studying benefit you? Is studying Islam going to make you a better person? Is studying psychology going to give you a better understanding of your own issues? Find out how studies will benefit you. And finally, reflect on the fact that, are you ready to invest your energy, focus, and time? Are you willing to invest your energy, focus, and time to studying something for the betterment of yourself and for the betterment of the ummah? So ask and reflect and remind yourself of your goal, of your intentions, to stay motivated, inshallah. The second step is to assess yourself and find out where are you exactly. So because this is a semester that has just begun, we've just started off the semester, it is a good time for us to reflect on where we stand at the moment. So identify where do you really stand, identify your pain points. Now, what do I mean by pain points? So identify what your weaknesses are in terms of time management. Is it that you get distracted easily? Is it that you get demotivated easily? Or is it that you struggle to understand the subject or the context of what is being taught? So identify what is it exactly that's stopping you, and what is it exactly that's hindering your progress. And understand that different techniques work differently for different people. So even though that in this session we will be talking about a couple of time management techniques, but ultimately all progress, all change should happen within you and from you and by you. So there's never going to be a technique that will magically work for everybody. One size does not fit all. Everybody's journey is going to be unique and completely different. So you really need to embrace that. You really need to analyze that change must come from you, and it doesn't come from anybody else. Next is about prioritizing. So this is a key to managing time effectively. And what do we mean by prioritizing? Prioritizing means scheduling your commitments based on their urgency, based on their importance, and based on their significance. So whatever task that you have at hand, whether it is doing some documentation work at your office, or completing modules, or doing some grocery shopping, prioritize all your tasks based on urgency, how soon it matters. Then based on importance, how much it matters. And finally, on significance, how long does it matter, right? So I also wanted to share this technique with you. It's called an Eisenhower Matrix. As you can see on this slide on the right-hand side, we have 4 boxes here, right? So the first box is for a task that's important and urgent. Then the second box is for a task that is important but not urgent. Then the third box stands for not important but urgent. And finally, not important and not urgent. So important are tasks that are, something that are really, really important that you need to get done. And urgent is bound by time. So something that has a deadline attached. So for tasks that are important and urgent, need to be done immediately. So for example, you have an exam coming up in a week, that is both important as well as urgent, so you will need to prioritize that first. Then for a task that's important but not urgent, so for example, you have to finish groceries for Ramadan. It's important, but it's not urgent. You still have a couple of days more for Ramadan, so perhaps you can plan uh, to do it on a different day, schedule a different day aside for that, right? Then for tasks that are not important but urgent, for example, could be, your friend needs some help. She has some emotional issues happening at home or some financial issues happening at home, and she really, really needs your advice and your help. Then in that case, it's not important, but it's urgent. So perhaps you can refer her to, speak to a therapist or speak to somebody else. You can delegate that task to somebody else. Then finally, for a task that's both not important and not urgent, could be, for example, watching cat videos or watching cooking shows. These are nothing but distractions, and you need to consider dropping them from your schedule. So prioritize your important task when you're most productive. So, for example, if you have to complete 2 modules every day or 3 modules every day, make sure you're doing your modules at a time when you feel productive and when you feel relaxed, and not at a time when you're exhausted and drained and burnt out. So I want you to imagine this. I want you to picture this. Your mind is like a funnel. It's like a funnel, a water funnel, and the water really, really needs to be filtered out. The dirt needs to be filtered out from your mind. So your mind too is just like that water filter. It cannot be inundated with lots of tasks. It cannot be inundated with lots of commitments. Unimportant tasks need to come out of it, need to be filtered away from it. So before you take up any commitment or before you take up any task, I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Can the task be eliminated? Is it really important? Can it be eliminated? Can it be deleted? Can the task be delegated? Does it mean that it's required only for you to do it, or can you really ask somebody to help you with it? So for example, if the house needs to be cleaned, uh, is it really that important that you need to clean it on your own, or could you ask somebody to help you with it? And can the task be deferred? So is it important that you do it right now, or can it be delayed until a certain time? So make sure you ask these questions to yourself before you take up any tasks or any commitments, so that you don't have too much on your plate, inshallah. Next, time management requires systematic planning, and I cannot stress this enough. Without planning, you're really doing nothing. You're really not achieving anything. So it is the foundation for all effective studies. If you haven't scheduled something, then it will never be done. So make sure that you have everything planned, your modules planned, your assignments planned, so that you're able to complete your semester successfully and smoothly, inshallah. And while you're planning, make sure that you're being kind to yourself. So you need to be really realistic about how you plan your modules. So this is something that I've observed personally, that a lot of students like to plan unpractically. Yani they plan really hypothetically, they overstretch themselves, they promise to do a lot of things, but subhanallah, suddenly lose momentum of that. So you need to be kind to yourself. You need to understand your body, you need to understand your mind, and based on how your body and mind work, you need to plan your modules, your assignments accordingly. And make sure you also set module deadlines using timers. So for example, if you know that you're struggling to basically complete your modules on time, or you're taking too long to complete a module, then make sure you set a timer for that. maybe 1 hour 30 minutes for each module, and make sure you try to complete your module within that time period, so that you're able to complete your tasks for the day easily. And ideally try to designate study days. So this is a tip that I always give to a lot of students. Sometimes studying every day can become boring, can become inundating and overwhelming. So make sure you have certain study days aside and have a day off or two, just to relax and unwind. So if you have taken up, let's say, 1 to 3 courses in this semester, try to complete one module every day and take a day off, maybe a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever works for you. If you have taken up 4 to 6 courses, then try to complete 2 modules every day and take a day off, maybe again a Saturday or Sunday. And if you've taken up 7 to 8 courses, try to complete 3 modules every day. So this is just a rough outline based on my interaction and experience with other students that really helps you to be on track with your modules, because a lot of times students unfortunately pile up the modules all towards the end and then they struggle to complete them. So make sure you stay on track and you follow this rough guideline, so that inshallah things don't become overwhelming for you. And just a bonus tip, that try to stretch yourself a little bit more before Ramadan, because once again, Ramadan is just around the corner, and a lot of students have already started reaching out to me saying that it may be difficult for them to complete more than one module, more than 2 modules every day in Ramadan, because they're fasting, they have other commitments at home, they would be cooking, looking after their children, right? So make sure you try to do as many modules as you can before Ramadan, so that you have a relaxed Ramadan, inshallah. Next, find the right space. So, just as it is important to plan your studies, it's also important to plan about where you want to do your studies. So make sure you have your own study space or a study desk set up, so that you can pile up your books, your laptop, your PC, and your other documents, and organize them and study better, inshallah. So if you haven't gotten one yet, I would definitely encourage you to invest on an affordable study desk, so that inshallah you would be able to focus better. A lot of students unfortunately do not have a dedicated study desk or a study system, and it really gets very, very difficult for them to be motivated or to focus on what they're learning. So make sure you have your study table, you have your books properly arranged, properly organized. Make sure your study room is a quiet space, it's away from the kitchen, or it's away from a place that has a lot of noise. And basically remove all distractions. Try to remove all distractions from your study room. So if, for example, if you're studying from your PC, try to keep your phone away, maybe in a different room, or ask a family member to take it away from you and give it back to you after you've completed your module, right? So try to remove as many distractions as you can. And a lot of studies show that studying at the same designated area every day helps to retain information better. So consider investing on a study desk, inshallah. Then this is a great technique that I recently learned. It's called habit stacking. And I learned this technique from a very powerful book on building habits. And I just wanted to share this with you. And inshallah, I hope that it benefits all the students here. So, habit stacking is nothing but pairing your study habit with a current habit. So, for example, so let's imagine that you're struggling to make time for your studies. You're struggling to fix a study time. What you can do is pair your study habit with a habit that you do every day. So, for example, before, let's say, before brushing your teeth or after having the morning tea, you can then complete your module. So you need to pair your study habit with a habit that you do every single day. So for example, you can also, let's say, after praying Fajr, you can complete one module, or after praying Buhar, you can complete another module, or after having lunch, you can complete another module. So this basically increases the likelihood that you'll stick to your study habit because you're pairing it with a habit that you certainly almost do. And the key here, again, the key of habit stacking is to select the right cue. So make sure that you pair your study habit with a habit that you always do, certainly every day. So try to basically find a cue that works for you. So if you're a morning person, perhaps you can consider doing a module after you finish your Fajr prayer. If you are a person who likes to study at night because it's quiet and you work better at that time, maybe you can study after Isha or after dinner. So consider pairing your study habit with a habit that you already do, and hopefully that should help. Inshallah. Next is to practice good study habits. So again, this is something that I cannot stress enough. A lot of students like to start by pushing themselves too hard. So I see that in the beginning of the semester, the students are very, very motivated, very, very enthusiastic, and they like to do a lot of things. They like to, do a lot of modules. They want to get everything done in a day. But then suddenly they lose that momentum, they lose that energy and that spirit. So it's always best to start small. It's always best to go after the low hanging fruit first. So this means, for example, you can first start off with subjects that you feel they're easy for you or you feel confident about, right? And you can reward yourself for completing deadlines and punish yourself for missing deadlines. So, for example, if you're a person who's struggling to keep up with study habits and that study motivation, each time you complete a module, perhaps you can reward yourself with some tea, with some cake, or with a hot shower, a good book, anything that makes you happy. And if you miss a certain module, let's say, you can perhaps punish yourself by giving sadaqah. So each time you miss a module, perhaps you can offer $1 as a charity, as a penalty fee, as part of a sadaqah to somebody else. So this would inshallah help you be more serious and be more passionate about your goal, inshallah. And try to study collaboratively. So again, studying at an online university, at a distance education university, can sometimes be extremely depressing. So try to make sure you have your study buddies, you interact with other peers, other colleagues, and basically study with them. You can create your own WhatsApp group. You can do a lot of things. You can answer questions, explain concepts to one another, and it really, really makes the journey better. And while you're listening to your lecture notes, while you're listening to your module lectures, make sure you're taking your lecture notes, and also refer to notes from senior students, just to be sure that you haven't missed anything. Then I would also suggest you to follow this 10-minute revision rule. So I have been very often, a lot of students come to me and ask, how can I remember what I learned? How do I remember what I learned? How do I remember all that I've learned until my midterm exams or until my final exams? And my advice to you would be that make sure you dedicate some time for revision. So perhaps you can pick one day of the week. It could be a Saturday, Sunday, a weekend, and just basically pull off 10 minutes for reading through your notes. So, for example, every Friday after Fajr for 10 minutes, you can read through all that you've learned, all that you've watched, and all basically read through your notes, your course text, or your slides, just to basically quickly revise what you've learned. And try to utilize study aids. So make sure you have some sticky notes around you, just so that you can mark any important points. Make sure you use highlighters. So if you're a person, if you're a visual learner, you will learn better with colors, you will learn better with graphs and with pictures. So try to use those study aids, try to have some mind maps, try to write some summaries. So inshallah, this will make your understanding process easier. And the last technique that I really, really vouch for is the Pomodoro Technique. So if you're struggling to basically complete your modules on time, I would encourage you to try the Pomodoro Technique, whereby you just study for 30 minutes, right? So basically you can take your phone and set a timer of 30 minutes, and you can, in those 30 minutes, you can watch a lecture, and then you can take a 5-minute break, and then come back again, study again for 30 minutes, and then take a 5-minute break. So this technique is called the Pomodoro Technique. So 30 minutes of studying and 5 minutes of break. And you can repeat this until you finish your module, inshallah. Then a very, very good practice that unfortunately a lot of students are hesitant about is seeking help. So we as we all know that these are challenging times, these are tough times, everybody's struggling at home, whether it's economically, whether it's emotionally, whether it's psychologically. There's so much happening in our lives, right? So whatever issues that we have at home, subhanallah, can affect our studies, can affect our concentration, can affect our focus. So if you're feeling distressed, if you're feeling overwhelmed, never be shy to seek help. So talk to a therapist if you feel lost. And alhamdulillah, at IOU, we offer free student counseling services. So if you have any issues, any concerns, or you need any advice, or you feel a little lost, you can always drop me an email, and we can, of course, connect on a quick call, and inshallah, take it forward. So your counselor can also help you to devise a study plan that works for you, and can inshallah motivate you to continue studies forward. And it's important to always remember that your well-being is a priority at the end of the day. So make sure that you look after yourself, you take care of your well-being, so that you're able to complete your studies proactively. And remember that inspiration doesn't lead to change. So I know that a lot of students want to, have sessions, motivational sessions on, to basically help them study at a more motivational level. But we must remember that inspiration doesn't lead to change, practice does. So it takes time, it takes a lot of effort. Small, consistent efforts lead to big results. And there's no overnight success formula for performing better in your exams. Consistency is the key. So make sure you start studying early, make sure you start taking your assignments seriously, make sure you have a plan prepared ahead, so that you're not overwhelmed towards the deadline, inshallah. And make sure you also set realistic goals. So set goals that are achievable, that are small, and that are smart, inshallah. And I also wanted to suggest a couple of apps that will, inshallah, help you study effectively. The first app that I definitely recommend is Flat Tomato. And this is a great app for students who want to follow the Pomodoro technique. So basically, the app sets up a timer on your phone. It disables all the other applications on your phone, and you can study smooth, so that you can study smoothly, inshallah. The next app that I recommend is Trello. So Trello is great if you want to basically plan your assignments, plan your modules, and you also want to study collaboratively with other students. So I would suggest you try Trello. Then Notion is great. So Notion works like Google Docs, it works like Microsoft Office. So if you want to have a dedicated space where you can safe keep all your notes, then Notion is the place. Then MindNode is another great app if you want to create mind maps. So if you're a person who likes digital mind maps, you can create your own online mind maps on MindNote. Then Forest is a great app for productivity. So if you want to disable certain social media sites, or if you want to monitor how much time you spend on social media and elsewhere, you can definitely use Forest and stay focused. Then Google Drive, again, this is something I cannot stress enough. So a lot of students unfortunately do not save their course texts, they do not save their course notes, and so when the semester is over and if they want to go back to those resources, they don't know where to go. So make sure that you safe keep all your documents, all your assignments, all your course textbooks on Google Drive. Have an organized folder, a dedicated folder for each subject, and save all your assignments and all your important resources there, inshallah. Then Evernote is also great for note taking. So if you're not comfortable with Google Docs, or if you don't prefer writing your notes on a piece of paper, then perhaps you can consider Evernote. And Pocket is another very, very beneficial app that helps to save articles and videos. So this is highly recommended for assignments. So a lot of times what happens is for the assignments, the students need to research at a lot of places. We need to read through a lot of journals, a lot of websites, a lot of articles, and sometimes those sites get lost because we either accidentally close all the tabs, or subhanallah, something or the other happens. So make sure that you save all your important links and all your important journals on this app, and inshallah you can always go back to it whenever you're working your assignments. So Pocket is extremely helpful if you want to do your assignments and basically save all your resources. And finally, I would also recommend you to download the app Calm. So this is a great self-help app. It has a lot of mental health exercises. It has a lot of positive reminders. So whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, inshallah, you can go through the app. There's a lot of meditation exercises, and alhamdulillah, it's Islamic friendly. So you can always try that app. And another Muslim friendly version of that is the Sabr app, Sabr, Sabr. And again, it's great whenever you're feeling down, inshallah. So on that note, inshallah, if you have any questions, you can ask them at this moment, and inshallah, we can take them forward. Okay, so we have a question. Assalamu alaikum. What's the best way to approach lack of consistency? Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah. Thank you for asking this critical question. So again, in terms of consistency, it's important to first identify what is the reason for that lack of consistency. So a lot of students know what the issue is. So, for example, a lot of students know that procrastination is the issue, but they don't know what's causing procrastination in the first place, right? So perhaps you can take some time off to find out what is causing you to be inconsistent. Is it that the subject is difficult to understand? Is it that you're unable to understand certain concepts? Or is it that you're just not motivated enough? Or you have some physical distractions around you, like the phone or anything happening, subhanallah, any stress happening at home. So it's important to identify what's causing you to be inconsistent with your studies, and according to that, inshallah, take the rightful measures. Okay, so the next question is how to cover or refresh previous semester knowledge. Very good question, Jazakallah khair. So again, firstly a couple of things here that we need to look at. As human beings, it's highly unlikely that we're going to remember everything that we learned in the past, right? So the only way to refresh or to remember what we've learned is constant revision. So perhaps what I would suggest is, perhaps you can pick out a specific day or specific days rather of the week to revise what you've learned in the past semesters. So perhaps, when you're done with your midterm exams or after you're done with your assignments, you can pick a specific day, a weekend preferably, and just basically revise all that you've learned. So maybe read through your notes, read through your past notes, read through the slides, read through the course text, right? And that's the only way forward to go about that. Is to the only way to remember what you learn again is always revisiting that. It's always refreshing that. So make sure you read through them, set a specific day aside, and cover that, inshallah. So that's the way to go forward. Okay, so we have another question here. Assalamu alaikum. My question is about fixing my assignment on my schedule. For the last semester I was at IOU, I was able to fix it immediately after midterm. Since then, we will be having almost 3 months after midterm, and all I need to finish. My post midterm is just 2 months, so I use the extra months for assignment. But now this semester, the schedule is different. Very good question. Jazakallah khair. Right. So I think in terms of the assignments, in terms of the midterm exams and the post midterm exams, the key here again is to organize and prioritize what's important. So you might need to focus on what's important and urgent as of now. So, for example, if you know that you have your midterm exams coming up in 2 weeks, but your assignments are due in a week, right? So in that case, your priority should be something that's both important as well as urgent. And that would be, in this case, the assignments, because the due date is pretty much very near, right? So you might need to consider sitting down and identifying what is important and what is urgent, and focusing on completing that right now. But for things that are important but not really urgent, perhaps you can take them a little slow, inshallah. So it's at the end of the day, it's all about finding out and striking that balance between what's important and urgent versus something that's important but not really urgent as of now. And my last suggestion would be to do your little bit every single day. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of students, unfortunately, like to work on their assignments when they're just a week away from the due. So this is highly, highly discouraged, and it becomes extremely stressful and strenuous for a lot of reasons. I would recommend that you set aside a specific time of your day to focus on your assignments. So, for example, every day for 30 minutes, every day, just 30 minutes alone can, help to build some progress in your assignment. So dedicate 30 minutes every day to work on your assignment, dedicate 1 hour for each module. So basically try to space and time your modules and assignments simultaneously. Hope that answers the question. Okay, so the next question is, Assalamu alaikum. I would like to ask, is there any technique for students who are enthusiastic in the beginning but are not up to the mark in the end and lose interest? Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah. So for students who are extremely enthusiastic in the beginning but unfortunately lose that momentum towards the end, the only solution to go forward would be to bring back that motivation, because as long as you have that motivation to continue, you will work hard. But if that motivation is lost, if that motivation is destroyed, it's killed, then it becomes really, really difficult to work uh, on that and to get better. So my advice to you would be that if you have lost your motivation or lost that interest to continue your studies towards the end, would be to basically find a study buddy, find somebody who can motivate you. And secondly, to remind yourself of your goal ultimately and constantly. So keep reminding yourself of your intention, keep reminding yourself of your purpose, and then work accordingly, inshallah. Next question, Salam, if someone just enrolled recently and started studying, can the 2 modules daily be enough to finish? Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah Abu Bakr. So it depends on the number of subjects or courses that you've taken. So if you have taken more than, let's say, if you've taken up around 4 to 6 courses and you've just enrolled, then completing 2 modules every day would not be enough. You might need to push yourself to do a little more, especially if you've started late. So, what I would recommend is for you to sit down and plan basically your modules, and see if you're able to complete them before the midterms. The rough timeline would actually give you an idea of how many modules would you need to do every day to get to basically to reach your goal. So even if you don't stick to that timeline on 100% level, that's okay. It just gives you a framework, it just gives you the guidance, a direction on how to work forward. Okay, so the next question is, I have a problem with consistency. How can I stay consistent throughout? A very good question. I think, again, in terms of consistency, you might need to identify what is causing you to be inconsistent in the first place. So, is it because you're struggling to make time for your studies? Is it the distractions around you? Or is it the lack of interest? So, you need to first identify what's making you inconsistent. And secondly, in terms of staying consistent on, on 100% level is not possible all the time. As human beings, motivation fluctuates just like the seasons change. Subhanallah. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. Some days we're extremely motivated, we're extremely enthusiastic, and on other days we're just struggling to finish one module. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. We need to accept the fact that our motivation, our consistency, our productivity will fluctuate each day. And acceptance is then becomes the key. So once you accept that, you then need to find out what the reason is, and next focus on taking some physiological measures. So, for example, if you know that studying with somebody else will give you that motivation, will give you that accountability, then find somebody who can hold you accountable for it. Punish yourself if you skip your modules, or if you skip the assignment deadlines, and keep reminding yourself of your ultimate goal and what you're trying to achieve, inshallah. Next question: how to convince the kids to study in the last few precious days of their semester? Right. This is a good question. So, in terms of how to convince, this I think like we've talked about on the very first slide, was that change comes within you. So you may be trying to convince somebody to do something or to utilize their time or to be productive, or you're trying to help them and motivate them, but you will not be able to do that for them until the person is ready to change themselves. So the motivation, the interest, the desire to change must come from within. So if you're trying to advise somebody, you can keep advising them, but at the same time, we can pray for them. We can pray that they're able to get through their modules, they're able to get through their semester, but I don't think there's anything more that we can do. But holding them accountable also helps. So, for example, like I've talked about and stressed a lot today, was finding a study buddy, right? What this does is, when you have somebody who's holding you accountable, who's keeping an eye on you, makes it easier for you to not get distracted. So make sure you hold your children accountable if they're not completing their modules on time, or make sure you hold your friend accountable if they're not sticking to the plan. So hopefully that should help. How much time should one take on each subject per day? Again, depends on the number of courses you've taken, but ideally, if you're talking about the module, I would encourage you to dedicate not more than 1 hour, 30 minutes every day for each module. Okay, so I managed to complete one course, 5 modules from 2 different courses, and I'm panicking now. Do you think I can complete all my courses before the midterm? Initially, I took 6 courses. Yes, very well. I think you can definitely complete that before the midterms, inshallah. So just push yourself a little bit harder. Just focus on getting them done, and inshallah, you will be done and you will successfully complete those courses in no time. And the last question that we're taking up for tonight is: I have chosen 9 subjects this semester, but total days of exams are only 7 days, which is from 17th to 23rd, which is 7 days in total. So my question is, how do I complete these 9 subjects exams in 7 days? Okay, so right. The only way to do that would be to attempt more than one exam. So, for example, if you have 2 or more than 2 easy subjects or courses this semester, perhaps let's say, if you find Aqida and Fiqh easy, you can take them both on one day, right? And you can then space out the other questions. The other subjects accordingly. So if you can basically try to get done 2 easy subjects together, and you can leave the tougher subjects alone to be attempted, inshallah. Okay, so I think I'll just take 2 more questions. So is it advisable to finish all the materials on one subject first before moving to another, or combine them concurrently? I think it depends on you. It differs from person to person. So some people find that studying concurrently interferes with their memory. So if you feel that, okay, if I'm studying Aqidah and Fiqh simultaneously, it's confusing me, then it's advisable not to do that. But if you feel, okay, if I just study Aqidah alone, and when I'm done with Aqidah, I'll study Fiqh, it's really making things slow for me, or I'm losing my interest, then in that case, it would be advisable to do both the courses simultaneously. So it really depends. So some people like to do two subjects concurrently, simultaneously, so as to maintain their level of focus, and some find it difficult to concentrate on. So it really depends on how comfortable that is for you. Then, last question: is there something I can skip or pause some subjects from this semester and continue it next semester without paying it for that again? I think this is a question that concerns the help desk. I would encourage you to drop an email to helpdesk at iou.edu.gm, and inshallah, they will be able to answer that for you. All right. So, on that note, inshallah, we will end our session for tonight. Jazakumullahu khairan kathira. I hope you have benefited from this session, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow you to ace your midterms, to allow you to ace your assignments, and to facilitate your affairs always. And if you ever need any assistance, or if you ever need support, you can always reach out to me via email, and we can take it forward from there. So jazakumullahu khairan kathira. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.